Hello, and thanks for joining. My name is Carmen Munoz. I am the Human Resource Officer with UNICEF's Division of Human Resources. We are broadcasting live from our UNICEF headquarters here in New York City to commemorate an important occasion. On December 3rd, the world celebrated International Day of Persons with Disabilities. It was our IDPD 2022. On this day, we promoted the rights and the well being of persons with disabilities in all spheres of society. But most importantly, our goal was to raise awareness. For the next 30 minutes, join us in hearing an inspiring story from a colleague in the field, Layla's story. Learn how UNICEF is continuing to strive to be disability inclusive organization. And lastly, we'll listen to a message from our Associate Director in the Division of Human Resources, Mr. Sajid Ali. I'm excited and I hope you are too. Now let's connect with my amazing co-host, Alexandro Samaloglu, to see what's next.
Thank you, Carmen, for this wonderful presentation. Um, you know very well how we are constantly looking for fascinating stories of our colleagues that can inspire and can show what it really means to work for UNICEF. But also, these stories demonstrate the wealth of the skills and of the talents that we have at UNICEF in our workplace. And also, we want to show with these stories all these different perspectives and experiences that we have that these colleagues bring to our work here at UNICEF, to the work for children. So, also, this is what makes our workplace unique. And I think that's why we have one of these stories today we're presenting. And this is our colleague Laila Atshan. We will be soon seeing her. Oh, there she is. She's already waiting for us, connected from Amman, Jordan. We're so delighted to present Laila. Hello, Laila. Merhaba.
Hi, Alexandro. Hi.
How are you doing?
Fine, thank you. Fine, thank you. Good to hear you.
We're very excited to have you. I'm so excited to connect with you again, dear Laila. And it's been a long time, right?
Yes.
So, Laila, how was your trip yesterday?
My trip was smooth, nice. It's always exciting while traveling. I did a land border travel as you experienced it, and it was nice.
I'm glad. I'm happy. I know we experienced this trip also once together, and when I visited you in the Middle East, and actually we made this wonderful video. So, which I think is very. We'd like to watch first before we start asking you questions. Carmen and I have so many questions for you, but let's
Okay.
first watch our video.
Okay.
I travel a lot. As you know, I am blind. I'm passionate about what I do. I helped UNICEF providing psychosocial support and counseling for UNICEF staff in 16 countries in the MENA region. I've been very involved with the issues of trauma, conflict and war, survivors and refugees. At this work, there's always challenges, but there's almost nothing we can not overcome. I'm not a savior, and I don't come as a superwoman or as a hero. I always believe in trying to find possibilities. I try to not let the word impossible stop me.
Alert, the host unmuted your mic.
Laila, we're back.
Hi.
You were able to hear and the video we watched together, right?
Yes.
How does this make you feel, Laila? Hearing these moments from this interview that we had a while ago.
Uh, Two things. It reflects my real belief in life to always try to find possibilities and not give up. And I could hear seriousness in my voice. As you remember, when we spoke, I believe my mom, who left this life, was on her way out. So I could feel it in my voice. Nice.
Thank you, Laila. And what I also kept from this video and from this interview, the discussion we had is when you also talked about not being a superhero, not being a superwoman, but being yourself and being real. I think
Yeah.
this was very um, very true, very human thing to say.
Mm.
Laila, can you let's take it from the beginning? I mean, we want to know. We know you are a staff counselor at UNICEF, and you provide a support to our staff who are in very hardship locations and are faced with trauma and challenges. So how did you decide to become a therapist? Why is this something that you enjoy to do?
Um, I come from a Palestinian refugee family, and I was born blind and had two other blind siblings, where I saw the struggles my parents had in knowing how to manage such a big family with three blind people. And I was sent to an English boarding school as a child in Jerusalem, um, which gave me mixed feelings often as a child. It didn't feel good to be a child disconnected from my family, even though now as an adult, I think I feel grateful that my parents did this. Even though they might have done it because they didn't know how to manage me, but it still was good. So I think also when I went to high school, to a mainstream school, I often felt misunderstood. I always use the example of one of my teachers would give me the same grade whether I wrote every word from the book or whether I wrote a song. So I often felt invisible, and I had to do funny things to get acknowledgement, even if for naughtiness. And so I think feeling understood, feeling visible, not in an egoistic way, in whoever you are, as a smart teenager, a naughty teenager, a person, a human being. And this feeling of feeling alienated from my family, from classmates, from the bigger community, since I was a teenager, I fantasized about having a place where people can feel they belong, they're included, and they're understood. And this was my real drive for being a therapist.
Feeling of the belonging, everyone included. That's something that so many people, all of us, we really it's a human need to feel that we belong. And since you touched upon this, I want to ask. I heard you saying often that sometimes you felt the other or you felt the different. Can you maybe advise, because I'm sure many people hearing today in our audiences might also feel the same way. What would you say to that?
Um, for people who feel they are different, I say thank God we're all different, because it would be so boring if we were all the same color, if we all had the same abilities and characters. So that difference is a richness. I want to encourage everyone who feels different to reach out and embrace and celebrate their difference. And I want to remind people on the other side who are not very accepting to those who are different to know that it's truly a privilege and a treasure to be with that different person. Because yes, we're all different, we're all similar, and we're all different. I always tell people we're all feel sad and happy, and we all have um, our unique tastes in life and wishes and etc. that maybe someone else doesn't quite have. Oops.
We're watching at the same time while you are speaking, Laila. We're watching some footage from our trip where we were filming, and it was your flute, you playing your flute in this.
In Jerusalem, probably, yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
Nice.
So I remember from our stroll in Jerusalem, in the old town, where you
Yes.
met people, and you love to play your flute.
Yes.
Hi, Layla. This is Carmen. I have a
Hi, Carmen.
question for you.
Tell me.
So, seeing you play your flute put a smile on my face, and reading and seeing the messages and your inspirational story also brings a smile to my face, as well as many others. But I'm curious to know what aspect of your work brings a smile to your face?
Um, when I feel that people feel truly heard, and when I see the impact on them, when I see them change, when I see someone comes in feeling like they're not worth it and they leave feeling, yes, I have power, I'm worth it. And I think healing is such a concept to not underestimate. And, coming from Palestine and working in the Middle East, a big portion of my life, and I even worked in Denmark with refugees from different countries. I know what war does, not just in the collective way, to families, to individuals, to one's relationship with themselves, even. And so when people feel very safe to speak their heart without any masks, I feel such a relief, really.
Thank you.
So you also spoke about challenges in this video, Laila, and I mean, let's not pretend that everything is great and everything is always positive. There are also challenges, difficulties we faced, and also, yeah, opportunities to develop. So, can you tell us maybe when are these moments for you in your day, in your work?
Um, when some of the challenges are when people don't really care to know who you are and what you can do and just assume from their perspective, which could be much more limited. And even after achieving so much in my life, even at a place like UNICEF, which in a way is a great place, but also I sometimes felt this. Um, Even in hiring, I think in general, I think we need to really know who we are, because in a place like the UN, people tend to define themselves and each other just from a career perspective. Oh, that title. And we all have much more than a coincidental or no coincidental title behind us. Um, it reminds me, I worked with young people who were injured during the first intifada, first uprising. And I remember a guy who was shot in his head, lost so many senses, lost hearing in one ear, sight in one eye, and his right side, I believe, was one of his sides was paralyzed. And he used to be a tailor, and people said, "What can want to send him to vocational training?" And they said, "But what can he do? Nothing in him works." I said, "Yes, something in him works." So we asked he wanted to be a tailor again, and we asked the guy in the workshop, the tailor, to test what he can do, and he became specialized in this one aspect of tailing. But we need to have the humility to ask questions and be curious and ask who the human being is behind that title. And I think, unfortunately, big organizations tend to be a bit masked, and we have big academic concepts and preachings, but we don't quite feel them. I think that's one of my challenges.
Thanks for sharing that, Laila. I think it's very true. It's very useful, and I think many people are going to identify uh, many of those who are watching today. And those our audience is mostly young professionals who are starting their careers, young people seeking to start with little experience or with just starting making their first professional steps.
Mm,
So, I mean, very often this is a very difficult, it's a very challenging job market, right? Globally,
yeah.
everywhere, almost everywhere. And for these young people, very often they see this professional stuff as something very difficult. They see barriers. So I know that when you hear the word barrier, uh, triggers in you,
Yeah.
reactions. How do you feel about that? And what do you say to those young people that are faced with barriers?
I tell people the biggest barrier is the one within us, inside our hearts and heads. And often it's created by fear that's being, that we internalized. For example, perhaps if I could see, and I was raised by my mother, bless her soul, I would have been much more scared and less adventurous in life because having been a refugee who escaped her village with literally nothing, perhaps no shoes, she often said, be careful, and she gave messages of not trust. So the fact that I lived away from her and didn't quite digest her feelings and her fear as a traumatized woman, I was lucky in a way, although society often gave me messages of what I cannot do. So the barrier is the one that we tend to adopt and believe, which is a perception, it's not necessarily true. I tell you, academically in high school, for example, I didn't like school and I didn't care about high grades. I always said, I just want to pass with no competition. I just want to finish from this stupid school. And so, very ironically, those who know me was like, how could Harvard take someone like you? So someone who thinks of Harvard as a big deal would never dare to apply. And I applied, and to my surprise, I was accepted. So the barrier could have been in me, but we all have something. We need to recognize it. I think when we do some healing and some sharing and humble reaching out, we can know ourselves more and we can uh, overcome the barriers within us.
Yes, thanks for that. Um, I fully agree. And I can identify with sometimes adapting the word barrier and not being very um, seeing it as a challenge to believe that there is a way behind the barrier.
Yeah.
So, Laila, it was really great seeing you. And tell us, what are your next plans? Do you have upcoming missions, interesting missions? Will you be going?
I'm hoping to go to Yemen in January if all works well. And I'm actually looking forward because I do enjoy going where there is a need and where I can see the impact. And it's hard to plan too much ahead at UNICEF, but this is the first trip on my mind coming up soon.
That's great. Yeah, I'm sure the need right now in Yemen is actually acute. So I hope you get there and really your work has an impact. Do you feel this often that your work has an impact, really, now that you mentioned?
Sorry, I didn't hear what you just said, Alexandro.
Do you feel often that your job, what you do, your work has actually an impact?
I believe any impact I can do. I realize, as I said in that video, that I'm not a hero, a superwoman, but any impact, whenever I see anyone healed or empowered or is able to stand for themselves or able to appreciate what they can offer, I appreciate that impact. People like me are always striving for more impact, of course, but I do the best I can do.
Thanks. So, Laila,
Mm.
we don't want to keep you. Thank you so much. It was such a pleasure to have you today with us. Um, you can say goodbye, and you can. But before you do, you can just tell something to our audiences, to those people, an advice, a career advice. Do you have something for them?
Career advice, I say follow your heart, follow your passion. And the biggest stress doesn't come from overwork, in my opinion, although it's good to know when to stop before we lose it, but it comes from feeling alienated from what we do. And when we work in an environment where there's so much masking, I think, and we have to prove we're busy and we're prestigious and we're perfect, it's not worth it. It's very tiring. So embrace your strengths and embrace your vulnerabilities and follow your heart and say with respect what you need to say when you're not convinced, because that silence is what will get you sick.
That's wonderful. Thank you, Laila. We're gonna leave you. Let you get back to work.
It's evening. I'm not going to work anymore today.
Enjoy your evening. Enjoy your free time. I
Thank you.
hope I'll see you soon.
Thank you. Thank you, Alexandro. Thank you, all of you.
Have a wonderful evening in Amman.
Bye, Layla.
Here, she totally touches my heart. And she's not just a colleague, Laila is also a friend, and I'm really happy we connected with her today. But Carmen, you announced earlier, you said that there was something very important you wanted to also talk about, which is the reasonable accommodation offered by UNICEF.
Yes, Alex, thanks. UNICEF continues to take steps in making our recruitment process more inclusive. Ensuring equal opportunity in our application process is actually a central consideration for us here at UNICEF. And what allows us to do that is the provisions of the reasonable accommodation of job applicants, candidates, and employees with disabilities. This is a step in that direction. Here in the workplace, reasonable accommodation not only is pivotal, but can also support and can provide accommodations depending on the person's disability and the situation. Learn more about UNICEF's commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion, and also learn more about what we're doing in that space by visiting our UNICEF careers page as we see reasonable accommodations here on the page. UNICEF is striving to be a disability inclusive organization.
This is very important, Carmen, and actually, it's um, it's an important step. We know there are so many things we can still do to do more and do better, but this is an important step to offer more inclusive access to our recruitment processes. So, and all the information is on our career website on unicef.org/careers. So, as you said, everyone can find the information there.
But that's not the last thing. We do have a message from our associate director. So without further ado, we have Sajid Ali, our associate director in the Division of Human Resources, here with us. Hi, Sajid, can you hear us?
Yes, I can, and I can see both Carmen, you, and Alex too. So I guess it's my time to speak.
Hi, June. Hi, Sajid.
Hi, hi, Alex. So firstly, just to thank you, Carmen, Alex, June, and everybody involved in this live event to bring it to us and also to highlight on some very important topics or challenges that we deal with in the workplace. And a big thanks, special thanks to Laila for her inspiring story, the video, and how she has made a difference in welcoming, but most importantly, caring and making UNICEF an inclusive place to work. So thanks a lot, Layla. This is the first time I interacted with you also, so I'm really glad we had this opportunity. I mean, for us, we in our programming message we say we will leave no child behind, but actually when it comes to our workplace, we should not leave anyone behind. That should be able to tap into the workforce of a global workforce anywhere in the world, and we need to make sure that we have a fostering and inclusive workplace where we can all work in. Our colleagues serve to contribute positive changes in the lives of children and their communities, and now more than ever, whether they are at the front lines or of our emergency responses or in other contexts, the impact is immeasurable. So the work they're doing over there is just more than what we could have asked for, and we continue to work for the children of this world. And we are privileged, not only just lucky, but privileged to have many talented colleagues with visible and invisible disabilities from all over the world in our workforce. And we should all pledge and be allies, because we have to advocate, empower, we have to include, we have to represent, and we have to support having an inclusive workforce in UNICEF. And with that, I know we are running out of time. A very brief message on the career side from myself is that once you can get to places in your jobs, but it's your attitude which matters much more than your experience or expertise that makes you flourish, get to the next level, and be a star in whatever role you have or whatever career you choose to in your life. So with that, I will now hand back to Carmen and Alex. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Sajid. Very motivational words and absolutely very wise. Attitude is of utmost importance. So now, Alex and I would like to thank you, the viewers, as well as everyone who's participated in today's live broadcast. We thank you for joining us. We ask you to please be an ally, a proud ally. And if you'd like, you can rewatch this live broadcast again, engage on the chat. Let us know where you're from. Let us know what you thought about the live broadcast. But most importantly, please remember to not only celebrate it on the days commemorated, but throughout the whole year. Again, thank you for participating, and we wish you all the best.
Goodbye, everyone.
Unreasonable. It's how you have to be if you want to change things. Relentless. Tenacious. The world's children need people like that. People who see impossible as incentive to try harder. Who find one good reason to keep going in the face of 1,000 reasons to stop. So, shout out to the hardcore, because big problems need big solutions from big game players. You know the type. The determined, the persistent, the unreasonable. UNICEF, in more than 190 countries and territories. We never give up until the rights of every child are protected. Are you with us? UNICEF, for every child.